It's going to look weird because I'm the size of... I'm like a little grape compared to you. I'm the size of Perez's hopes and dreams at Red Bull. So... Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Motorsport. This is the F1 Debrief. It was the Mexican Grand Prix the other day, and once again, I'm your host Daniel, and I'm welcomed with my co-host Alex. Hello, Alex.
How you going? Bit of a different atmosphere for both of us today.
Very different. I don't have my computer with me at the time, and you're literally in a different state. So We're making do. That's why he's bigger than me right now. Then again, pretty much everyone I know is taller than me. I think we're on par anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, we're pretty similar height.
But, Mexican Grand Prix. What do you think of it?
Entertaining. Just for memes, really.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about in a race that there wasn't a lot to talk about with. That made no sense. But...
No, that actually made sense. Yeah, not much action happened, but there's lots to talk about.
There is. There were. It was basically another survive race in terms of temperature and the altitude and stuff, affected tyre wear and engine wear and all that stuff. Basically, drivers had to manage their gear, and that never really brings on good racing. But in saying that, there were a couple of good battles from a couple of drivers, especially Norris.
Yeah, he had a very interesting day.
After having a terrible qualifying session, he got out on Q1.
P19.
So to climb all the way to 5th is a pretty good result, and he definitely put on a show to achieve that.
He could have, I don't know if you know, but he could have been higher. After the red flag restart, he apparently spun the wheels.
He went
on
from
the
10th
grid.
to 14th.
Yeah. So, could have been a lot higher. But, you can't really complain anyway from 19th to 5th. But it probably could have been a podium.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And if he had a good qualifying, then there definitely would have been another second place, probably.
Yeah.
But speaking of restart... If you weren't aware, there was a big crash with the red flag was brought out after Magnussen's left rear suspension decided to give way, and he just went straight into the fence at turn 9, which brought out the safety car, which eventually brought out the red flag, and that's what I was going to say. Norris actually pitted before the red flag came out. Which didn't help him at all, as well as Bottas as well.
Yeah, but, it was originally called a safety car, and then the fence needed repairing. So they unfortunately had to ultimately put out the red flag. Which, that always happens though. It's happened a couple of times this year. And obviously happened in Australia a fair few times.
Yeah, I was getting ready for a couple of red flags today, or that on Sunday, after Australia.
Yeah, look, I just think though that, I don't know, the track doesn't really offer much of entertainment. It's not a very specifically dangerous track.
No.
I was listening to the Matty, what's his name? Matt Gallagher and what's the other guy's name?
Matt and Tommy.
Tommy,
Matt and Tommy pod.
Yeah, they were just saying how boring this track is. And I agree. And let's be honest, I think that the only reason it's in F1 is because Checo's in F1. So...
In saying that,
it's kind of like Zandvoort. If Max wasn't as good as he is,
it
wouldn't be a race in Zandvoort. Zandvoort's a terrible track for F1.
The thing is, the race was pretty much one and done off the well before turn 1, especially how long that straight is. Plus, because of the high altitude and stuff like that, it is hard to overtake on this track, which, you want to see overtaking, but unfortunately, if you can't, then what's the point racing on it?
I do, yeah. I think this track is just really good for its views and not so much the entertainment, unfortunately. However, I do think that there is still a place for it. Because, I don't know, F1 has these types of tracks. Oh, it's got a really long straight. Sick. That's it. Like, Azerbaijan, for another example. It's literally got 2 or 3 corners to overtake. 2 straights. That's it.
Yeah. But the thing is, you're right. I think we still need a Mexican Grand Prix, but the layout needs to change massively because the atmosphere there was incredible. Like, you could hear the crowd go wild the moment Perez ended his race, and we'll get into that very, very soon. But you could just hear the crowd, how loud they were, and I love hearing that. So I don't want that gone. I just want a track that they can actually race at and create entertainment.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I think, though, the problem with the track itself is the fact that it's very stop-startish. So you got the long straight into a chicane, well, a corner then in a chicane, and then you have another straight into a chicane, and then into a hairpin, and then a series of S's, which seems like it's cool for F1 camera shots, but like Matty said in the podcast, the curves are too high. And every time someone touched them, Lando Norris, you lost time. And then it goes into a very short straight, which has the most useless DRS zone in all of F1, into a stadium section, which I agree is really cool. And
it's cool how it's set up.
The problem is setting up for the corner, because the right-hander before that after the useless DRS zone is too tight. So if they had a way to open that up to make that faster, then you'd have a real braking opportunity, because the stadium section is really wide. That left-hand corner is really wide.
It's so awkward, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it goes into another awkward corner at the end where you can't do anything with it. You're too far back. It's too short.
Yeah.
It is literally... I'm sorry to say this, but this race is literally for Sergio Perez.
It is. And the way things are going, I don't think...
It might not be for long.
According to his dad, he's going to be at Red Bull with Max for the next 10 years, which is... I want what he's on. That's what I want.
Yeah, if he's got... I think they should drug test him and his dad, just to double check if they're alright. Because I don't know, the Mexicans, you know... They did last a long time, but he's already been in F1 for 10 plus years. Like, yeah, who are you, Fernando Alonso? I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of that, we've got some
news, speaking of Fernando
some
Alonso,
rumours. Should we get into it? No, we'll wait till No, let's get into it now. Get out of the way. Let's go. You
come on, man.
Go ahead. I can see that you're excited. Go for it.
Well, the rumours. We have no. Well, we have some evidence of the rumours. However, the rumours could be fake. Who knows? But there are rumours that Fernando Alonso could be on his way to Aston Martin. No, from Aston Martin. Sorry.
Hold on. We're backtracking here a year or two.
I'm too excited. From Aston Martin to Red Bull, and Perez going to Aston Martin again. I don't know, man. Like, the reaction is, I literally have no words. If this happens,
it never came to my mind at all.
No, it was Ricciardo or nothing.
Exactly, and at this rate, I still personally think it is going to be Ricciardo.
Well, as an Aussie, I would love to see
Alonso. I would love to see how Alonso does against Verstappen in the same machinery.
I want Alonso in a Ferrari, to be honest, but in a car that's competitive against Max Verstappen, as we saw in the first couple of races this year before Aston Martin made a taxi, that he can be competitive with Max. The first couple of rounds, I was putting bets on him to win. And was there a pole position? A few pole positions? I can't remember. But
no,
he was always top two.
Was it Saudi Arabia that he had one? Was it, or is it second? He started on the front row pretty much.
He had a lot of front rows. We haven't gone to the stats, but he was very close.
It's a shame now, though, the car is just garbage, and another garbage weekend for
him. Yeah, he didn't finish the race. Yeah.
So he'll be definitely That Aston dream is probably over already.
Oh, yeah, it was over a couple of rounds ago. But, yeah.
So we'll see how we go. But it'll be really interesting. I'm really excited to see how this... Considering we didn't have a silly season in Formula 1 this year, to get this last little bit with 4 to go, or 3 to go now, is exciting. And I'm looking forward to... Hopefully Abu Dhabi when everything is set. Maybe Las Vegas, we'll find out for sure. But because there was also a rumour that Checo is apparently already out of a contract next year instead. They've literally just... you're guaranteed not going to finish second in the standings. Off you go, bye-bye.
I don't know if you realise this, but Brazil is one of Lewis Hamilton's most successful tracks.
And he's on a roll as well.
And he's on a roll, and he's feeling very happy. He's very happy. I've never heard someone, especially Lewis, get so excited over P2 on the radio.
He hasn't been this ecstatic since he was leading the championship a couple of years ago in 2020.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, well, that's my point.
Stress-free Hamilton.
Yeah, I just think he's got a car that he likes driving. It may not necessarily be as fast as a Red Bull, but it's comfortable. And he can actually meet some of the goals that he is asked of, which is exactly what you want. So, I really think that there is actually a chance, despite a Max Verstappen meltdown or something, incident, that Lewis could win this week. Yeah. And we won't go into this week too much because this is the last week's review. But I really do think that he can get second this week.
Well, he's on a roll, like I said. So I expect at least a podium of some sorts.
Yep.
Whether
he's only 20 points behind Perez. He may not get second this week, but he's got 3 rounds to do it.
I reckon he would get it because the way Perez has had. Is it 2 or 3 last Grand Prix that have just been utter garbage for him? He just hasn't performed where he should. And he hasn't really performed where he should all year since Saudi.
Well, Lewis, it was meant to be second in US.
Oh, that's right, yeah. And he got
then he didn't finish in Qatar. Or he barely even didn't make turn 2. And then 5th in Japan. And Singapore was 3rd. So, it's been okay. I mean, obviously the Qatar one really put a hit. He
would have been ahead of him if it wasn't for that, I reckon.
Well, the thing is, hang on, Perez only scored 1 point that round. So it didn't even hurt him that much, yeah.
Yeah, right.
So,
but
I still think...
Speaking of Perez...
Yeah, maybe not this week, but I think he'll get him.
Yeah. Speaking of Perez... Yep. If you have seen the race, do check it out. I recommend it.
Just watch lap 1.
Highlights at least.
Just watch lap 1.
Lap 1, that's all you need, because that's when you know Verstappen wins. But also, Perez, my God, what was he thinking, mate? What the hell?
Do you know, there's a video going around of Max doing the same thing a couple of years ago. But the thing is, when you want to pass someone, you have to be in front.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And yeah, he wasn't in front. So.
No.
Also, I don't want to talk about bad things, but how rude were the Mexican fans booing Charles Leclerc?
Oh, that was awful. Because especially when
it's not even his fault.
If you look at it properly, you can easily tell that it was Checo who turned in. Leclerc had nowhere to go. He was a Red Bull sandwich. He had nowhere to go.
It was like Verstappen in Singapore when the Ferrari squashed him.
Exactly, and I'm glad Charles actually said something as well.
Good. Yeah. Agreed. Stand up for himself.
He did nothing. It was literally nothing he could do. It was Qatar all over again. Yeah. I reckon Perez should have just lap 1 out of 71. Like, dude, chill. It's your home Grand Prix. Just run wide a little bit. Mm-hmm. He could have at least got a podium.
I wish Perez was I'm not going to say paddock in the pits because they weren't on the pits for the celebrations, but on the stadium section to do this again, like he did a couple of years ago on Max 1. I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
We only get this reaction in Mexico, so
they're very passionate, but
they're very
sometimes maybe
passionate.
in the wrong way at times. But not all of them are like that, though. Don't get us
No,
wrong. Not
no,
all
no,
of them.
no.
It's just the
I
people who
just
boo just show a bit more respect.
yeah, and so understand the situation. Obviously, you're involved in you're passionate about Perez, but things don't always go right, and yeah.
Definitely.
Anyway, let's move on from that.
Yeah, so pretty much that was all the action for the race. We saw a couple good battles with a couple AlphaTauris.
Yeah, AlphaTauri had a good
and
week,
McLarens.
didn't
They were on point. They were set for double points if it wasn't for the collision with Piastri and Tsunoda.
yeah, they had to pit him, didn't they?
Yeah, because he was quite animated. Angry Tsunoda was back.
That's not really ever left.
No, that's true. But other than that, there was also, I don't know if you saw, I haven't seen it myself, but there was a last lap battle with George and Ricardo. That the TV didn't show.
I don't think it was much of a battle. I think that, I was watching the gaps, and I think that to turn 1 he was his closest, and then, or turn 4 after the chicane, after the second DRS zone, and then he just...
Well, Ricardo's always been known for good in the brakes.
I was kind of surprised.
Back in the day.
Like, that's one of the best overtakes I've ever seen.
It's so good.
But the gap on the right was non-existent.
Yeah, exactly. What a weekend. What a weekend for him. That was perfect, wasn't it?
We said it. We said it last week.
Yeah.
We said it last week that points are coming. And it came the first round after we said it.
Yeah. And not only that, but AlphaTauri has now moved up from last to 8th in the
standings. And I said that too.
That's it, yeah.
We called everything this week, and even the Supercars podcast we're going to do later.
We did really good.
Right
we did well with that as well. I'm quite proud of that. But let's get into the results.
Yes.
Considering. So, Verstappen...
Ignore. Don't worry about it.
Disqualified.
Logan
Sargent is actually the winner.
Thank you.
No, Verstappen, he actually won his 16th race of the season, new record. Again, he's amazing. He's doing well. Let's move on. Hamilton, second place.
That was too much time, Max.
Oh, sorry. Please forgive me.
Next week is going to be 5 seconds, Max.
I'll walk myself out.
Max. Yeah, literally. Anywho.
Well, we've got to talk about Ricciardo. Hamilton, another great weekend. Leclerc, after getting pole, another podium. Still hasn't been able to.
At least didn't fall down like top out of the top 5 like he did. At least he was still competitive.
That's it, yeah. And speaking of that, his teammate was also behind him in 4th as well. So, decent amount of points for Ferrari after they have lacked pace the last couple of rounds.
Yeah. It's a bit of a shock, though, in qualifying. Because they were... I think Martin Brundle said that their Q3 time was almost a second quicker than Q2. I don't know where they pulled that from, or if they just literally had the... I don't know. Yeah, it was weird. But, 5th place we had Norris, and he said in his press conference after that he had the pace for pole.
He was really
and it showed. And it showed.
He made Piastri look like nothing. No offense to Piastri, who did well. He was just so fast. Well, he did start on softs as well, which also helped. He was the only one that started on the softs.
And his tyre wear was pretty good too. Like, his stints were pretty long.
See, I thought they were just going to be gone pretty much straight away, but no. But considering he dropped to 14th after the restart, to be able to climb back up to 5th after that you got to be happy with that.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely a podium if he didn't start at the back.
Yeah, and also the gap between him and Russell was pretty big, 8 seconds. So, the thing is, when Norris passed someone, he never ever got pressured ever again. So, I think I don't know, if we had another 5, 6, 7 laps, he may have got a podium, at least 4th. But yeah, the gap. We can combine 6th and 7th here because they were right behind each other. It was George Russell and Daniel Ricciardo. You never thought you'd say that in the same.
And speaking of that,
and he kept up. He was behind the Mercedes the whole race.
He was racing Hamilton as well. Hamilton was struggling to pass him at one point. He ended up doing so. But also Norris, did you see that overtake with Norris and Ricciardo? How Ricciardo defended like a champ heading into
went around
turn
the
1, 2.
Norris went around the outside. And Norris and Brundle was saying, not many people will do that. So you have to be the bravest of the brave and a Max type driver to pull off those things.
Yeah. And
so Lando's got it.
Unlike Perez, Ricciardo knows how to not make contact when it comes to cornering. And because also, shout out, he qualified 4th ahead of Perez. So he pretty much embarrassed him completely this weekend. And then Perez just, he embarrassed himself on Sunday, but the fact that Ricciardo got a good result in a shitbox, which actually has improved a little bit, but compared to the Red Bull, he's laughing. So
and the thing is, not only did you mention 4th place, but he was a 10th or 2, 10th or 2 behind Max, 10th or 2.
I think it was.
Perez hasn't been beaten by Max by less than a second.
Yeah.
Well, most races.
Pretty much, anyway.
Half a second. I'll give him half a second. Alright, I'll give him half a second.
But
it was really close to qualify.
Yeah. And now he's 17th in the drivers as well now. He's come from 22nd to 17th, so happy days.
How good.
Oscar Piastri finished 8th. Like I said, he had that tangle with Tsunoda, but I think it was just Tsunoda's fault. I haven't actually looked into it properly, and I didn't really plan on it either, as it was just deemed as a race incident, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And then my boy Alex
Albon, 9th.
Yeah.
Another points finish for Williams.
And wasn't far behind. It was only 5 seconds behind Oscar. And he had a huge gap behind to Esteban Ocon, a gap of 14 seconds. So, big weekend. And Alex, I don't know if you remember this, but he was P2 in both the first 2 practice sessions, or even all 3 of them. Like they were comparing his times with Max. I think he got pinned in quali. Because I remember watching qualifying and his name was 9th, and then at Q2, and then I watched Q3 and he wasn't there at all.
Yeah, right.
So I might need to go back and have a look, but he may have got pinned for track limits. I don't know where. But yeah, he had the pace, and so if he started up higher up the grid in the top 10, he probably could have been somewhere near 5th, 6th. To be honest, they look really good this week. I think they're going to struggle a little bit in Brazil. But I think a track like Vegas, Vegas.
That'd be good for them.
I reckon they can do good there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping it's not a sleep fest. I'm really hoping not. Next up is 10th and 11th, the 2 Alpines, Ocon and Gasly. Did you see that cheeky message Ocon told to give Haas?
On the Haas.
Yeah, and then
Hulkenberg... to be fair, he did finish,
Yeah, Hulkenberg put on social media, took you long enough or something like that. So...
Yeah, look, I don't think Haas has anything to fight with.
No, they had... Speaking of that, they're actually last in the teams now. Which is rather a shame. But let's get straight into Tsunoda, who finished ahead of Hulkenberg in 12th. As I said, he was sitting in 8th and just behind Ricciardo pretty much. Not just behind, but in terms of positioning. Yeah. So if it wasn't for that tangle, I reckon double points for sure. That would have been pretty cool, but still, solid weekend for AlphaTauri considering. 13th, Hulkenberg, as I said, Haas now last. The only finisher in the Haas team. Just not very quick, unfortunately. Speaking of not quick, also, I hate to say it, is 14th is Zhou Guanyu, and Valtteri Bottas behind him in 15th, who's the star of the DNFs.
Yeah.
Bottas got in a bit of a tangle with Stroll. Stroll was very happy about that afterwards. And he actually pitted before the red flag as well, as I mentioned, so he lost about 10 seconds or so.
The car was never
Nah, it didn't really matter anyway. Didn't matter.
No.
Which is a shame. DNF, these are all DNFs now, obviously. Logan Sargent, he actually retired on the last lap, which is a shame, due to a fuel pump issue. So that's just bad luck. We saw that in the supercars a little while ago.
Oh, yeah. These F1 cars, mate. Oh,
yeah. Stroll is also didn't finish. I'm not too sure why. And Alonso as well. Double DNF.
They both had mechanical issues, didn't they?
I think so. I haven't looked into why they... apparently Alonso was saying the car was slow all weekend and wasn't really
he wouldn't have done much
well for him. So didn't really... Like you said, yeah, doesn't matter. And 19th, we've got Magnussen after his impact at turn 9 after a suspension failure. And
a crash.
It was, yeah, it was mega. I'm glad he's alright though, all good.
Those Tech Pro barriers are really good.
Yeah, I can see a grid penalty maybe. Next one after repairs, depending on how bad it is.
Yeah, the gearbox probably needs a replacement.
Yeah, it was a nasty hit. And last but not least, Perez. Who
what happened to him?
I don't know. He was... I didn't see him all race. It was weird.
I think he cut someone off in a car park.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why there was booing.
Maybe.
Because someone pranked to the car. Anyway, we'll never know.
Yeah.
But that is it in terms of the Mexican Grand Prix. Let's quickly brief over the top 10. I say that, but we just go through the whole championship. Do you want to do this one, or do you want me to do this one?
It's changed a bit. Yeah,
it has. So why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, well, let's skip the first guy. Don't worry about him. He's on 491 though. He is only 9 points away from 500. So yeah, it's ridiculous. The gap now, second to third, Checo and Lewis, is only 20 points, like I said before. So 3 rounds to go. It's definitely doable, and then get him in.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty motivated for this to happen.
Are you really?
So yeah, the 2 Spanish are even on points.
Yeah,
dead even. Yeah, I know that Carlos Sainz always said he wanted to be like Fernando Alonso, but this is a bit too close, I think. However, Carlos has jumped up a little. He's jumped up a spot, obviously for finishing. So they're both locked on 183, 4th and 5th. Norris is behind by 14 points, and I think he could probably grab both, maybe one. Definitely Alonso at this rate, because this car's terrible. Yeah. So as long as Norris has a good qualifying session each round, he should be fine. He didn't just overtake Charles Leclerc, sorry, because Charles had a better result. So that must mean that they swapped, actually. No. Sorry.
Well, it's only
Lando was already
3 point difference. 4 point.
Yeah, there's only a 3 point difference between Lando and Charles in 7th. George is in 8th. He is 15 behind Charles. And this is what a huge gap is that we keep mentioning. George to Oscar Piastri is a big old gap. I don't even know the maths. And then running at your top 10 is Pierre Gasly. And I will continue to mention Lance Stroll because he is only 7 points behind Pierre Gasly, but that's your top 10. And then the rest haven't changed except... we'll go through the whole list now, we have to. Esteban Ocon 12th, Alex Albon 13th, Valtteri Bottas 14th, Hulkenberg 15th, 16th is Yuki Tsunoda, and Daniel Ricciardo is now 17th. How good. He has gone from 21st, really, with all the reserve drivers coming in and changes. He's leapfrogged Zhou Guanyu, well, she's even with Zhou Guanyu, Kevin Magnussen has had a shocking year. Liam Lawson has more points still than Logan Sargent, and then Nick DeVries didn't score anything. So, yeah, I mean, it was about time that Daniel got a podium, but not podium, a point. Sorry. Ignore me.
Someone's dreaming next year. Hang on, this is 2023, not 2024 when he's in the Red Bull. All right, calm down.
Yeah, I got it.
You're just getting used to saying it. You're getting ready to say it next year.
I've actually never said this, but I'm actually going for Lewis Hamilton for the next couple of weeks. I just need a change, man.
That's bold.
Needs
How
changing.
do you feel? Are you okay?
Do you know what this is happening? It's just I was a Max Verstappen fan when Lewis was winning, and now I'm a Lewis fan when Max is winning. I just want different people to win each week, man.
I think you have what everyone is currently experiencing at the moment, the winner fatigue.
Boredom?
It's
true, though. It's a real thing.
I am same. I was a Max fan, and I was rooting for him in Abu Dhabi 2021.
Yeah, everyone was.
But I'm also a big fan of action.
I'm bored now. 16 wins.
Yeah.
16 wins out of 19. Are you kidding me?
Crazy.
How can F1 allow this? I mean, it's not their fault, but come on.
But
anyway. I'm going to keep going mad here. But we got to mention the constructors, because how it changes again.
Yes, so... exactly. So Red Bull still lead the way.
Changes are only still at the bottom, but still.
Yeah. And then we got Mercedes in second. Ferrari is only 30 odd points or 20 odd points behind in third, and then we've got McLaren stretching their gap between Aston in fifth with a 20 point gap. Then we've got Alpine, and there's a bit of a gap between them, between both Aston and Williams in seventh, and then we've got AlphaTauri.
Alpine and Williams.
Hey,
you said Aston and Williams. Yeah, you missed Alpine.
Shit. Sorry, Alpine.
Alpine are in sixth. Yeah, they're in sixth.
Please forgive me, Alpine. I'm sorry. Alpine sixth, seventh Williams, eighth AlphaTauri now, moving up from 10th. Then we've got Alfa Romeo after a disappointing weekend, and then Haas in their home spot.
AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo, everyone are on even points. So
I forgot. Yes, that's right. Sorry.
However, I suspect that could change. Because Brazil is a very good round to AlphaTauri. Pierre Gasly out driving Lewis Hamilton. So you never know. Maybe me saying Daniel Ricciardo on the podium isn't not possible.
Out of the question. Yeah.
Out of the question, yeah.
How cool would that be? How cool would that be?
I will lose the plot.
He better keep that moustache that he's got. He better keep that for next year.
I think if he managed to pull even a top 6, top 5 in a AlphaTauri, surely that convincing.
I mean, what?
Come on.
The result he got this weekend is just as good. Like, it's really good in an AlphaTauri. Yeah. So to get a podium would be insane.
Oh man, I'm getting too excited.
Let's not get too excited in case he has a crap weekend. But that's all from the Mexican Grand Prix. We've now only got 3 to go, with a very close battle between in the championship. I can't really say that. I was gonna try to get away with it, but no. But it is close for second place, though. It's close for the 1.5 championship. So I'm very curious to see how we go with that. But any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
No. It was a good weekend, and let's see what happens in Brazil. Obviously, we've said who's got some work to do and what can happen. So yeah, I'm very excited for the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Very good. And stay tuned for the Supercar Gold Coast review, which should, if I do this right, should come on the Friday. If this comes on the Thursday, we'll see how we go. This will come first, then Supercars. But yes. That's all from us. You can catch us on our socials. I'll have a thing here if you're watching on video. Also check out Alex's new pod as well. He's got the second episode up now as well, I've noticed. So do check that out. That link is also in the description below. And as I said, stay tuned for Gold Coast and our Brazil review next week. So, yeah, that's all from us. Bye for now.
Thank you.